Hi guys. So I got a call from my transplant clinic and it was not the news that I was hoping for, unfortunately. They got the results back from my sputum sample that they took during my bronch and they found Pseudomonas. Not very much, small amount, but there is still Pseudomonas in my lungs. So that was super duper disappointing because I just did all of this treatment over the summer and we tried so many things and it didn't work. I still have Pseudomonas. So that's super frustrating and also kind of alarming. I mean, maybe it doesn't have to be alarming, but I personally am alarmed because it just very much reminds me of pre-transplant, because over the years before transplant, I kept getting sicker and sicker, and by the end, we kept trying to treat my Pseudomonas infection, and I kept having less and less response to treatment, and I kept being resistant to even more antibiotics. So this feels very similar, you know, that like we're throwing all these antibiotics and then we keep finding out like now I'm resistant to another antibiotic. Oh, we did all this treatment and it didn't work. So it's definitely not exactly the same, because when the treatment wasn't working before transplant, I was just staying sick. You know, I was having symptoms and my lung function was dropping and I couldn't get it back. So this time I definitely did get better. We, got a CAT scan. My lungs are clear from pneumonia, so that's a good thing. My, lung function in general is definitely doing really well. It was at 92% the last we checked. So getting hospitalized and getting all the antibiotics helped, but it didn't eradicate the Pseudomonas, which my doctor was expecting we would be able to eradicate it because my new lungs don't hold on to infections the way that my CF lungs used to. So the plan now is that I am going back on nebulized antibiotics to try and treat this. I used to do nebulized antibiotics before transplant. For years, like since I was a teenager, I think I've been nebulizing antibiotics. Before transplant, I used to do nebulizers, maybe like 3 or 4 nebulizers twice a day, at least. Sometimes I would do it more often if I was, really sick and struggling. So nebulizers used to be a huge part of my life. For the last year or so, I've only been nebulizing maybe once a day and just one nebulizer. The only one I really held on to was my saline nebulizer to help loosen up secretions and mucus in my lungs and make it easier to get out, because the one time that I stopped doing it completely, I ended up during a bronchoscopy, they found like hardened debris like stuck in my airways. So I keep up with the saline to try and keep things clear and moving. But that's really the only one that I'm doing, and there are some days that I skip it entirely, which has been like a huge total life change to be able to just mostly leave nebulizers behind. And it's been really nice. I've been enjoying not having that huge nebulizer routine every day. Alas, apparently it was too good to last. Because now I need to do the antibiotic nebulizer, which is going to be twice a day. And the antibiotic that we're doing, it's called tobramycin or Toby. And in the past, I've had reactions to it where, it just made me very scratchy. Sometimes, it would make it hard for me to breathe a little bit. It would give me kind of asthmatic type symptoms. So because of that, I'm going to be doing an albuterol nebulizer before I do the Toby to try and just, help open up my airways and try and reduce some of the side effects. We also don't really know how I'm going to react because these are different lungs. These lungs haven't really experienced Toby before, So we just have to kind of try it and see how it goes. But I'm definitely not excited to get back on the nebulizer train. I feel a little spoiled because I did so many nebulizers for so many years. So the fact that I'm grumbling about doing, you know, like a couple nebulizers twice a day feels a little spoiled as a CFer. But it's also kind of legit because I got a break. I thought I was done with them, and now they're back, and it's just, you know, a thing that I'm gonna have to, you know, put into my routine, and it's an annoying thing to put into my routine. Also, Tobra is pretty foul. It smells and tastes pretty nasty, aside from the fact that we don't know what kind of side effects I might end up having from it. So the whole thing is just annoying and also scary because I really don't like that the Pseudomonas is just hanging out in my lungs and refusing to leave. I am feeling a little bit better than I was when I first got the news, because I did post onto a couple of, you know, CF and transplant forums about what was going on. And I have gotten a couple of responses from people saying that they also have had recurrent Pseudomonas infections. You know, some of them said that they were, you know, doing nebulized antibiotics and stuff, and that it hasn't really had a huge impact on their health, and that, you know, some of them, you know, are several years out from transplant, and really the Pseudomonas is not giving them problems. So it did make me feel a little better that hopefully, even if I'm stuck with it and can't get rid of it, that hopefully it will not have a bad impact on my lungs, and hopefully we'll be able to keep it under control, and it'll just be like it was before transplant, when I just constantly had a Pseudomonas infection and just was constantly adjusting medications to keep it quiet and keep it under control. So that's what's going on here. Not great news, definitely not the news that I wanted, but hopefully not terrible news, and just an annoying thing that I have to deal with. And I guess, you know, that's post-transplant life, is that there are annoying medical things that you have to deal with, and that's just the way it is. It's just the way it's always going to be. And hopefully the medical things that I deal with will stay manageable. You know, like I haven't really had anything unmanageable happen so far. So in that sense, I'm pretty lucky, and I'm really doing pretty well. So hopefully all my medical complications will continue to be manageable ones, and hopefully I will not get any more bad news, at least not for a little while, because I think I deserve a break. It's been a bit of a run of not great news over the last few months. So hopefully things are going to pick up soon, and things are hopefully gonna look better. So that's the story here. See you next time.